Alrighty, here we are. Week 11. Now, I don't know if I'm going to make this sound more dramatic than it should, but I am almost certain that if my Dallas Cowboys, if we don't pull this game out against, in my opinion, a very talented Miami Dolphins team, I think we're done. This is the quote-unquote return of Tony Romo. Tony Romo, who has been sitting out since week 2 with a broken collarbone. Since then, they have lost 7 straight. Brandon Whedon, the former Cowboy, who they've cut, thank the Lord, lost all 3 of the games he started. Matt Castle lost all the 4 games he started. And I think with a healthy Dez Bryant, I think with a healthy Tony Romo, we can get back into this. Now, granted, Ndamukong Suh, you woolly mammoth-eating beast-ass, I can't really talk smack about Ndamukong Suh, but you know Ndamukong Suh's history. Dirty-ass player. He always has and he always will. Now, granted, Ndamukong Suh's been as quiet as a mouse. I haven't heard his name all season long outside of that London trip when he did this interview. I'll do my best impression of Ndamukong Suh. Next question. Next question. Next question. Next question. Next question. Ndamukong Suh has proven he's a quitter. Ndamukong Suh has proven he's given up on the team. Now, granted, Miami's sitting at, I think they're like 4-5, 5-4. The guys are still alive for the playoffs, that's for sure. But the one thing is Miami has already lost both their games to the Buffalo Bills. So they can't lose, or unless the Bills lose out. Well, actually, no, wait. No, because the Dolphins have already played 4 division games. They still have to go at New York, and they still have to play at home against New England. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, leave comments in the comments section if you want. I think they play the New England Patriots on the final game of the season in Miami. You know what I'm saying? I think because the last game of the year always ends with a team that plays within the division. You know what I'm saying? Because it's even 4-4, 2v2. But not to get sidetracked, Miami's been playing much better football since they fired Joe Trashbin. Or, I truly forgot his name, but I like the term Trashbin. I think his name's Joe Philbin, but ever since they fired him at 1-3, they were sitting at, the guys have won 3 out of 5 games. Now, granted, they played the New England Patriots, and I like to say they played. No, they didn't play Washington. Let me stop tripping. Who the fuck did they play? I don't remember. All I know is they played the New England Patriots, and they played some other really hard-ass... Oh, the Bills. The Bills, that's who it was. They played the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. In my opinion, I think the Bills can make a playoff spot this year. I really do. I think they're sitting at 5-4. I mean, hey, that's a good step in the right path for the Buffalo Bills after they got Rex Ryan and whatnot. And then, I mean, because last year, correct me if I'm wrong, like they went 8-8, 9-7, but the motherfuckers beat the Green Bay Packers, something my team didn't do last year. I mean, only 3 other teams did that. Let's see, Detroit, Seattle, and I think it was San Francisco. No, it wasn't San Francisco. No, it wasn't the Bears either. I'm sorry. And it wasn't Dallas. Dallas didn't play them until the playoffs. The Bills? They lose to the Jets? No, they didn't. Hey, all you need to know is the Bills beat the Green Bay Packers last year. So that, like I said, that's something my team didn't do last year, which was really impressive. But the Miami Dolphins, the only way Miami can make the playoffs right now is if they have to have a better overall record than the Bills. Because, as I said, Miami, I think, is sitting 0-4 in the division. They've already lost both their games to the Bills. And they got blown out in both their games against the Buffalo Bills. And they've already lost to the Patriots, and they've already lost to the Jets. So they're 0-4. Buffalo's 3-0 in the division. Buffalo has already won the better division record than Miami. So what Miami has to do, basically, is they have to finish out over top Buffalo to make the playoffs. Now, granted, Houston's in the mix. Kansas City's finally playing better football and whatnot. But let's get talking to my Cowboys. We've talked, I think, a little too much about the Dolphins. Let's talk about the Cowboys. Tony Romo is expected to make his first start since the second week of the season. It's in Miami. The humidity might play a little bit, but I don't think Tony Romo is going to be too rusty. I think Romo's going to play a good game. Do I see us winning this game? Absolutely. Any game on our schedule from this point out, and maybe except for the Thanksgiving game next week against Carolina, may be the only difference. It may be, and I repeat, it may be the only game we might lose. Because Carolina's got a great football team this year. That's an elite football team out there in Carolina. That's crazy how good they are this year. I think it's because of the resiliency in that team, really, more than anything else. But keys to this game. Tony Romo is the number one key. Getting Tony Romo back has been the biggest key for the Dallas Cowboys because Dallas went 0-7 without Tony Romo. And now they're expecting Tony Romo to go 7-0. And hey, there's still a chance we make this, but I have to say we have to win this game for one particular reason. Because the Giants are on their bye week. The Eagles played the Buccaneers, but yet they beat my sorry-ass team. And then the Redskins play, I think, yeah, they play Carolina. So we have to take advantage. But this is basically how it can end up in the next 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And then plus, we're playing Tony Romo's favorite month. It's in November. The Giants have to lose the next 2 games after their bye week. I mean, we're still alive in this division. We're not going to... Fuck the wild card. We can't get in through the wild card. We can only get in through the division. Division is... It's either division or home at this stage. We can't catch anybody in the wild card. Because I think the 2 wild cards are the Green Bay Packers and the Atlanta Falcons sitting at both 6-3. But Green Bay has looked like a mess the last couple of weeks. Well, particularly Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers has looked like trash. And that's very rare because Rodgers, of course, is the greatest quarterback in the game in today's game, in my opinion. But the Giants, after their bye week, they have to lose the next 2. Both the Eagles and the Redskins have to lose 2 out of the 3. Now, I know it sounds weird because I know the Redskins play the Giants within the next 3 weeks. That could be the one game the Redskins win, but the Redskins have to lose the other 2. And then we're right back in it. But, of course, we have to win all 3 of them. And the next 3 games, let's go over them. We're at Miami this Sunday. We're at home against Carolina on Thanksgiving. And then our 3rd game, we're at Washington on Monday Night Football. So it's going to get intense. It really is. It's going to get really, really Riley up in this crowd here. Because, I mean, we had so many games in that losing streak that we could have won. I mean, shoot. We had that game against the Atlanta Falcons. We had that game against the New Orleans Saints. We had that game against the Philadelphia Eagles. We had that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And shoot, you probably can even throw in that game we had against the Seattle Seahawks. And that's maybe, 5 out of the 7 games. That makes a freaking whole difference right now. Had we at least won 3 out of those 5, because I know our shitty-ass defense can't hold leads. If we had won at least 3 out of the 5, Dallas, instead of sitting at 2-7, would have been tied with the Giants at 5-5. Because, I think that game against the Falcons really showed me a lesson. Because, we jumped out to an early lead, and then we had to, and me as a fan, and maybe as you if you're a Cowboys fan, had to just sit back and give the game right back to motherfucking Atlanta. And that's exactly what's happened against all the 7 teams. Maybe outside of the Patriots. Okay? Outside of the Patriots, 6 out of the 7 games. Because the Falcons, we had a 28-14 lead. And we got outscored, I think, 22-0 in the second half. Ended up losing 39-28. Lost in overtime on an 80-yard touchdown catch by C.J. freaking Spiller. You heard me correctly. C.J. Spiller, the backup running back. I think Mark Ingram. If Mark Ingram's still even there, I don't even know. Fuck the New Orleans Saints. They fired that trash-ass defensive coordinator, Rob Ryan. Not surprised. Rob Ryan gave up over 1,300 passing yards in 3 games. Eli Manning, Marcus Mariota, and then Kirk Cousins. What? Or I think out of the 4 games, they gave up 1,300 yards. I don't fucking know. Saints defense is garbage. And then let me continue. Maybe the Patriots game was the worst game of the year. Maybe it was because it was the most lopsided game of the year. But, like I said, the Falcons, we blew a 28-14 lead. The Saints, we had a shot to win that game, but that terrible defense gave up a game-winning 80-yard touchdown pass on the second play of the game. The third loss, which was the worst loss of the season, we got murdered by the Patriots. And then we had the lead, I think, once in that Giants game. And then only to sit back and give it right back to the Giants on a 100-yard kickoff return. A 100-yard kickoff return. And you want to hear this name? Dwayne fucking Harris. Dwayne Harris. That cinnamon from the Apple Jacks commercial looking bitch made guy, you know what I'm talking about? That guy that looks like the cinnamon guy with the dreadlocks from the Apple Jacks commercial? That motherfucker? You mean to tell me that guy didn't even have a kickoff return for us? Granted, I think he had, 1 punt return, and that was it. But then he becomes like this fucking Devin Hester 2.0 when he goes to the Giants? What? What? Dwayne Harris? Are you serious? That would punch me in the gut when we lost that game because I hate the Giants. I can't stand the Giants. I actually wanted the Patriots to win that game this past week against the Giants. Fuck the New York Giants. I can't stand the New York Giants. Giants get too much hype every single season. Now, granted, I'm gonna probably hear the same thing. Those guys will probably come up on my channel and see like, oh well, the Dallas Cowboys get too much hype every week too, and every year. They're always gonna be Super Bowl favorites because it's Big D. No, not really. Because apparently Tony Romo will make that one interception and everybody will lose their mind. But when Eli Manning does it, or Peyton or Eli Manning, the Manning duos, if either one of those guys did it, nobody would blink an eye. But because ever since Tony Romo botched that snap against the Seahawks in the wild card game, Tony Romo's career has been ruined because of that play. Because, of course, it's an infamous play. But I'm getting way too sidetracked, and I should get back to the preview. The second key to Dallas winning, get Dez Bryant involved. Dez Bryant didn't even have over 50 yards. I don't think he had over 50 yards receiving last week against what is a porous Buccaneers secondary. And then, Mike Evans looked like the king of the dime, the KOTD of, the game. Granted, that sorry son of a bitch named Morris Claiborne, who can't guard. Morris Claiborne couldn't guard a receiver if he was lying on his back eating potato chips. Morris Claiborne is literally the definition of a beaten down legless dog. He couldn't even cover. Brandon Carr and Morris Claiborne couldn't even guard Ruben Randall. Ruben Randall made a one-handed catch with bad hamstrings. That goes to show you how terrible that defense is. But the third key, get long scoring drives. I've said it all season long. And maybe even a star key, do not let Lamar Miller beat you out of the backfield. Lamar Miller is kind of like what Lance Dunbar was to us this year. He is a very good receiving running back. And he gets into the open field, boy, you better look out, because he is a great-looking running back that can catch the ball and go down the field with it. But contain Lamar Miller, Tony Romo's return, get Dez Bryant involved, and keep the defense off the field. Because if Tony Romo doesn't pass for like 5 or 6 touchdowns in this game, we're not winning. We're not going to win because you watch. Our offense will finally click, but then that porous defense, as I think Mr. Abbott, who is he's the governor of Texas, he even said that Dallas Cowboys defense is as porous as the state borderline. And I was like, wow. He threw Rob Marinelli under the bus, whatnot. Jeez. Granted, Rob Marinelli should be fired. Because guess what? You remember who Rob Marinelli is? Oh, I remember. He's famous for that 0-16 winless garbage trash-ass motherfucking Detroit Lions team that has everyone using that meme of the 0-16 Lions. Rob Marinelli will never be a coach. He'll never be a coordinator. I hope they fire him. I hope they actually get Rob Ryan back. I actually liked Rob Ryan. I can't stand Rob Marinelli. I want Marinelli fired. He looks like Hank Hill. Fuck out of here. But you know what's funny? I think the one thing that's killed Dallas so far this season, outside, and I know you're going to think I'm crazy because you're probably going to say, well, injuries comes first to mind. Yes, but it hasn't been the injuries. It's been the penalties. We've been the most flagged football team out of any other team in the National Football League. So basically, it's the Dallas Cowboys versus the referees. But you know what? I don't want these referees, now that Tony Romo's back, I don't want these referees picking up no flags because Tony Romo makes an impact to the game, unlike Matt Castle. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the refs doing that. What that would do for me is kind of like what fans would tell, or the refs would tell Dez Bryant about that catch last year in the divisional round. Dez said he didn't want to hear the refs come back to him and say, we got the call wrong and it was a catch, because Dez would have got pissed as hell and he probably would have thrown another one of his annual bitch-made tirades, I think. You know what I'm saying? But I think we win this game because the Dolphins suck at home. Granted, the Dolphins have only played, 3 games at home? They played to the Texans, the Bills, and the Jets, but only 2 have been here. The other one was out there in London when they played the Jets. That was the game in which Joe Trashpin got fired. But Dallas has to win at minimum 6 out of 7. I see us winning this game. I see it being like a 38-31 score, simply because the defenses both suck. But go Cowboys, throw up the X as always. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. I'm going to be, talking to some other friends offline. I don't want to do it on the camera. But I'll see y'all later. Take care, everybody.